Good morning, and we are in Mosiah 29 and verse 25. Now, Mosiah has just given a good argument for why they shouldn't have a king, and now he's going to tell them what he wants in place of it. Therefore, choose you by the voice of this people judges, that ye may be judged according to the laws which have been given you by our fathers, which are correct, which are given them by the hand of the Lord. Now it is not common that the voice of the people desireth anything contrary to that which is right, but it is common for the lesser part of the people to desire that which is not right. Therefore this shall ye observe and make it your law, to do your business by the voice of the people. And if the time comes that the voice of the people doth choose iniquity, then is the time that the judgments of God will come upon you. Then is the time he will visit you with great destruction, even as he has hitherto visited this land. Letting them know the obligation they'll be getting into. And I think that's the same today. And in the way that how we choose and what we choose really matters. And now, if ye have judges, and they do not judge you according to the law which has been given, ye can cause that they may be judged of a higher judge. And if your higher judges do not judge righteous judgments, ye shall cause that a small number of the lower judges should be gathered together, and they shall judge your higher judges according to the voice of the people. It's basically a government of checks and balances, and that's the same in England and in America, having those checks and balances in place. But it doesn't always work perfectly, and you'll find in Alma, especially and Helaman, the books, it doesn't work perfectly for them, unfortunately. And it came to pass, better than a king, getting a wicked king in, and I command you to do these things in the fear of the Lord, and I command you to do these things that ye have no king, that if these people commit sins and iniquities, they shall be answered upon their own heads. I say unto you, the sins of the people have been caused by the iniquities of Behold, I say unto you, the sins of many people have been caused by the iniquities of their kings. Therefore the iniquities are answered upon their heads. And now I desire that this inequality should no more be no more in this land, especially among my people. But I desire that this land be a land of liberty, and every man may enjoy his rights and privileges alike, so long as the Lord sees fit, that we may live and inherit the land, yea, even as long as any of our posterity remains upon the face of the land. And many more things did the king Mosiah write unto them, unfolding to them the trials and troubles of a righteous king, which I find interesting that he does this, and all the travails of the soul for their people. He's basically saying, well, here's the dirt, here's what happens behind the scenes, what you don't see. And he did a little bit of that at the beginning. Travails of the soul of their people, and also the murmurings of the people to their king. And he explained it all to them, and he told them that these things ought not to be, but the burden should be upon all people, that every man might bear his part. And he also unfolded unto them all the disadvantages of they labored under by having an unrighteous king to rule over them. Yea, all his iniquities and abominations, all the wars and contentions, bloodshed and stealing and plundering and the committing of whoredoms and all manner of iniquities, and which cannot be enumerated, telling them that these things ought not to be, that they were expressly repugnant to the commandments of the Lord of God. And now it came to pass that the king, after King Mosiah had sent these things forth among the people, they were convinced of the truth of his words. Therefore they relinquished their desires for a king and became exceedingly anxious. Every man should have an equal chance throughout all the land, and every man expressed a willingness to answer for his own sins. Therefore it came to pass that they assembled themselves together in bodies throughout the land to cast in their voices concerning who should be their judges, to judge them according to the law which had been given them, and they were exceedingly rejoiced because of the liberty which was granted unto them. And they did wax strong in love towards Mosiah. Could you just imagine the feeling they have? They did esteem him more than any other man, for they did not look upon him as a tyrant, which is good, who was seeking for gain, yea, for that lucre which doth corrupt the soul. For he had not exacted riches from them, neither had he delighted in the shedding of blood, but he established peace in the land, and he had granted unto his people that they should be delivered from all manner of bondage. Therefore they did esteem him, yea, exceedingly beyond measure. That's quite strong words, that they esteem him exceedingly beyond measure. I hope you can feel that about some of your political choices, people that are in government, especially by the end of this year. I don't think it's going to happen that way, but it would be nice one day. And it came to pass that they did appoint judges to rule over them, or to judge them according to the law. This they did throughout all the land. And it came to pass that Alma was appointed to be the first chief judge, he being the high priest, his father having conferred the office on him. So that is probably why he did not go down to the land of Nephi with the sons of Mosiah, was because he had already been made high priest, which meant that he had a lot of responsibility for the people there in Zarahemla and the lands round about. And this was an important thing that he would be doing. And now it came to pass that Alma did walk in the ways of the Lord, and he did keep his commandments, and he did judge righteous judgments, and there was continual peace throughout the land. Thus commenced the reign of the judges throughout all the land, and that from now until the time of Christ, we will see that is how they reckon their time. And so this is important, this part right here, because then you know where the time scale comes from. Throughout all the land of Zarahemla, among all the people who were called Nephites, and Alma was the first chief judge. And now it came to pass that his father died, being 82 years old, having lived to fulfill the commandments of God. I like how it says, having lived to fulfill the commandments of God. You kind of feel like he probably did that in the first little while when he baptized in the waters of Mormon, but it sounds like there's a lot more that including when he redone the church policies and how they accepted the people, and those that rejected the gospel were not numbered among the people of the church, and so forth. And I think there's all that in there, and also some way of having a succession as he passed it on to his son, which was actually a difficult part of the early church in our days, is the succession. It seems clear to us today, but even Brigham Young and others close to him was going, well, what do we do now? How does the church go on? And then they looked to the teachings and realized that they still had the keys in the quorum of the 12 apostles for that. Anyway, that's beyond the scope of this, but you can just see how he could have fulfilled a lot of the commandments of God, and especially living that long. He must have been head of the church, at least if you count being in the waters of Mormon, almost 60 years. So that's a long time. We've never had a prophet that's lived 60 years, so it would be an interesting thing to have him have one that long. And it came to pass that Mosiah died also in the 33rd year of his reign, being 63 years old, making in whole 509 years from the time Lehi left Jerusalem. Now these really help us know or get a good understanding of the time period that we're looking at in Mosiah, and it'll help establish what's the time period going forward. And thus ended the reign of the kings over the people of Nephi, and thus ended the days of Alma, who was the founder of their church. And thus ends this little broadcast today, and I hope you have a good day and that you think about the blessings and the freedoms of being able to live and make choices in the governments. And I hope you have a nice day, and